In one of the worst cases of religious brainwashing in Kenya, you come across the story of a successful lawyer who woke up one day, murdered his wife and their 3 kids. Then he went and threw himself in front of a moving bus. Welcome back to another episode of Criminal Diaries. My name is Yusuf, and today we are going to look into the tragic story of the Magu family. Paul Magu was a lawyer living at Kenya Pipeline in Nairobi with his wife, Lydia and their 3 children, Allen, Ryan, and Tiffany, and their house help, Margaret Njoki. Theirs was described as a young, happy family. Paul had met Lydia while he was still at law school, and the two got married after he had finished his education. In the city, Paul was working for one of the leading law firms, so you can tell that money was the least of their problems. Paul Magu, a man who was described as kind and loving towards his family members and everyone else, is said to have started changing after he became a member of a church allegedly based in Westlands, Nairobi. The church was led by a female cleric named Anne Wanyoro. According to Paul Magu's mother, Keziah Wambui, a strange relationship started to blossom between Paul Magu and the preacher. The mother said that she had caught them together at hotels and sometimes in situations only a couple can be caught in. The most strange occasion is that of Paul Magu buying the preacher a car, and when she got into an accident, he took her to a high-end hospital, and after she recovered, he took her to his matrimonial home. The house help, Margaret Njoki, stated that the preacher Anne Wanyoro frequented Paul Magu's home as a visitor, and strangely, she even had her own room in the house. It is strange that Lydia Wangui, Paul's wife, seemed to have no problems with Anne Wanyoro. Everything continued normally in the family until one morning, on a Sunday, the 23rd of November 2014, the Magu family woke up and took breakfast, after which Paul sent Njoki to buy soda from a shop within the area. Njoki left for a while, and after she returned with the soda, Paul Magu came downstairs from his and Lydia's bedroom, took one soda, then he went back to the bedroom with it. Njoki went to continue with her chores, and after a while, Paul came to her while she was at the garden. He asked her to go buy some porridge flour. At this point, Njoki suggested that they ask Lydia what kind of flour and where to buy it, since she was the one running the house. Paul opposed this suggestion, stating that Lydia had left for Anne Wanyoro's place, where she had gone to pray. Njoki had no otherwise but to obey her employer. During that day, Njoki observed that even the children were given the same excuse whenever they inquired about their mother. It was not normal for Lydia Wangui to stay away from home for so long, as she was a stay-at-home mother who did most of her activities indoors. The second day, the 24th of November 2014 came, and Lydia had not yet returned home. Her brother, who was staying with the Magus at the time, became worried since he didn't know Lydia's whereabouts and she wasn't responding to text messages and even calls. Paul Magu still insisted that his wife had gone to pray and will soon be back. When the night came, it was observed that Paul was very worried. He even went to bed without eating. The morning of the 25th of November 2014 wasn't so different from the previous one. Lydia Wangui hadn't returned home, and in that morning, it seemed like Paul Magu was in some sort of a rush. Margaret Njoki observed him filling up some forms, and while still on it, he instructed her to get the children ready, as he wanted to take them out. Njoki prepared the children. She was worried for them, and she started pleading with them to remain at home with her. The children declined. They went and got into their father's car, then he drove off. This was at 10 a.m. in the morning. During the same day, the body of Lydia Wangui was picked by police officers near a dam. In the afternoon of the same day, Paul Magu drove back to his home without his kids. He told the house help that he had come to pick something, then he left. That evening, he went to his father's homestead in Thika without the children. He got to spend the night there, where he was observed to be very disturbed. When the morning came, his father caught him wearing a skirt and a blouse that belonged to his mother. He commanded him to take off the clothes and wear his instead, and after this, Paul Magu drove away. He didn't even take breakfast. This will be the last time for Paul Magu to be seen by his family. His father informed the rest of the family members about his strange behavior during the visit, and the concerned family members tried calling his number, but in vain. They decided to call his wife, but her number wasn't going through as well. By now, the family didn't know that Lydia Wangui was dead and her body had already been found. When all their efforts to reach Paul were fruitless, they came to a conclusion that their son and brother was missing. A day went by, and on the 27th of November 2014, Paul's brother, Andrew Magu, went to Thika police station to report his brother missing, but to his surprise, he found Paul's car parked outside the police station. On asking, he was informed that his brother had thrown himself in front of a moving bus at Garissa Highway near Ngoliba. His car was found parked by the roadside. His body had been taken to Thika mortuary. At this point, it hit the family that Lydia Wangui, together with her 3 children, were missing. The search for the 4 began. News about their disappearance was spread nationwide through television, radio, newspapers, and even social media. When investigators visited Paul Magu's home in the parking lot, they found some ash. A suicide note was also found in the house. When Paul's bedroom was inspected, traces of blood were seen on the ceiling and on the walls. Bone fragments were also spotted on the floor. The family now feared that Lydia might actually be dead and not missing, so they sent Lydia's brother, together with a driver, to City Mortuary, where their worst fears came true, as the body of Lydia was found, burnt with several gaping wounds and missing most of her teeth. Now that Lydia had been found, all efforts were put towards locating the 3 missing children. On the 1st of December 2014, the body of Tiffany, the last born of the family, who was then 5 years old, was found in a thicket near Tatu City. She had acid burns and also a deep cut on the back of her head. The 2 boys, Alan and Ryan, who were 9 and 8 years of age respectively, were found dead near the same place where the body of their sister had been found. The bodies were badly disfigured. It was clear that the person who had killed them poured acid on their bodies in an effort to fully destroy their remains. After this finding, the search came to an end, and now investigators tried to sum up the events and how they occurred. According to them, Paul Magu attacked Lydia Wangui in their bedroom in the morning of the 23rd of November 2014, when their house help Margaret Njoki had left to buy soda. He somehow cleaned his room, and when Njoki left again to go buy the porridge flour, Paul took the body of Lydia out of the house and tried to burn it at the parking lot. This was evident as there was a burn-out area in the parking lot that had formed into a figure of a human being who was laying on their back. Paul Magu then continued to act normally with everyone until the 25th of November 2014, when he took his children, then killed and dumped them. After that, he went to his father's home, maybe to see his family one last time before leaving and throwing himself in front of a moving bus the following morning. The preacher, Anne Wanyoro, was arrested and charged with assisting Paul in killing his family members and himself. She was suspected because phone records showed that she was in constant communication with Paul since the date when he killed Lydia up to the time when he threw himself in front of a moving bus. Another reason for suspicion was that 6 days before the murders began, she had visited the home and conducted acts that appeared as satanic rituals. It also came to the light that Paul Magu had willed his properties to Anne Wanyoro. Anne was arrested and charged. She was then released on a bond of 2 million shillings. Over the years, she has never cooperated in giving any information about what had really transpired. The family of Paul Magu was divided in the opinion of why Paul committed the murders. Some said he had been religiously brainwashed and committed the murders as a form of ritual, and others, including his brother Andrew, believed that Paul committed the murders because he had given out almost all his wealth due to his strange generosity. He even quit his job as a lawyer to focus on the church, so there was no more money coming in, and after realizing that he was turning poor, he killed his wife and his kids. Then he took his own life as he wasn't ready for them to live in poverty. What do you think might have pushed Paul Magu to this tragic point? And which of the two theories do you agree with? Leave your answers in the comment section. And as always, thank you for watching. Stay blessed and see you on the next one.